All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is Game 3. Amaterasu's presents Albion Giants Collegiate University of South Alabama versus Bradley University. The set is split at 1. My name is Crumbreon. I'm here with Hydra. And how
How
are
you guys
you,
doing?
Hydra?
I'm so good. In between those games, I got some food in my system. I got a bottle of water. Cause it's a 3-game set, and you know what that means? We're in here for the long haul. So, chill out.
We are going to walk away with a victor after this game. It's a best of 3, so it will be very interesting to see how this goes. So we see the set being banned out once again. The Pele Sun Wukong is getting a ban this game, as
I
well as the
mean,
Kabrakan.
yeah, no, Zordinal, he kind of popped off. Top of the damage charts basically all game. And then what was it in Mid Phoenix? They got the Mid Phoenix, but he killed both of them. If that happened to me, let's say this is a ranked game, I'm banning Sun Wukong for the rest of the night. Like as I'm slamming my Qs. That's how tilting that play would have been to me. And I like the adjustment, at least coming out of South Alabama and Bradley in terms of these bans.
Absolutely, and we do see the Giannis and the All Run finally getting
Thank
taken
you.
off the board.
Thank you.
Neither team.
Someone did it. Oh man, that character has been so prevalent, at least in these matches tonight. He's a very, very good character all around. I think King Crab had a very, very fantastic showing. I think Looking for a Boyfriend performed well on the pick in game 1, but King Crab just he made him look silly. I can't even sugarcoat it. You can't be getting solo like that often, man.
Absolutely, definitely took the crown in game 2 with that all-around pick. We see Thor going the way of the order side here. Interesting. I don't think we've seen Thor being banned in games 1 and 2. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out in game 3 if it's going to be as much of a factor. We saw the Awilix was very active in the previous game, so it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. How that translates into a pick this game.
Exactly. I like the pressure that this Thor's gonna leave up, but they just gave South Alabama Chernabog. This god gives so much value to every draft ever. To where if you're not banning it, you have to be first picking it. I don't know if they ever expected to get it during second pick. And that being comboed with the wide range of very, very powerful supports that you can pair with this pick that are still up, Ares, Yamoja, I guess even Karen if you want to do like a double ADC comp, or Geb if you just want more peel, and that's what he likes to play. So Geb, you're looking really happy with this top 2.
Absolutely, and definitely a change up from game 1. We did see that the Athena being picked with the Chernabog didn't really do a whole lot. Athena didn't really do a whole lot in game 2 on the other side as well. So just changing it up a little bit, picking a good god that definitely had a factor in the game previously as well. So game 1 Geb was absolutely a monster, enough to earn a ban in game 2. So Geb, very solid choice here. Will be interesting to see what support goes the way on the order side.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely very curious. I want to know if what their game plan is here. This store has a lot of flex potential. It could flex to the solo lane. You could have a straight up demon play it and play it in mid, I guess. Really, really flex it. But we're gonna see this Horus here and a Soul. I really like this duo lane. It's it's that Marshall U duo lane. That kind of ran rampant in Division 3, but this Division 2. This lane gives you a lot of pressure. It gives you a lot of kill pressure, camp pressure, jungle pressure, everything you need in that duo lane. And that might be their answer to this Chernabog and Geb.
It would be very interesting to see because it was mentioned. So Horus was talked a little bit about. Does have the ability to kind of be a split push machine, able to pick up an entire lane of gods and minions and just split push whatever objective or go on whatever they want to take there. As we see the Baba Yaga rounding out the picks on this side, we'll have to see the bans. How do you think now that Baba Yaga has had the competitive ban lifted, is she finding her place in comp right now?
Yeah, she is actually. I think that she finds a spot in the meta where, these assassin mids really like to just dive a mage, and she doesn't really let them do that. I probably would have liked to see the bands change up a little bit if they were going to always pivot towards this Baba Yaga. Maybe give them an Assassin mid and then just play the Baba anyway. Give them the set, give them a Pele, like, just whatever, and have Baba just live it. But overall, I mean, I think in terms of this comp, she's going to be able to get away from the Thor very easily. If Horus engages on her, she should be able to live. So I do like the pick.
And we do see the Guan Yu and Kleena, as well as Susanoo being banned out here. So Guan Yu was hovered previous game, ended up going with the Chalk instead, which Chalk ended up being a force for a little bit, but ultimately fell. And we see the Hercules rounding out the bans. So what do you expect to see from the solo lane now that we are kind of getting a bigger picture on what the teams are going to be here?
Let's see. I mean, well, you know, hmm, they the Thor could still go solo.
It's
And
true.
I'm not 100% sold as a jungle Thor yet. Horus could also just be a solo laner, and then they might just pick up a Guardian. But wait a minute, Surtur just got locked in, and that character has not been going solo lane at all this last weekend in SPL. It's been going jungle. Please, please
Very
be a jungle
interesting.
Surtur.
I would be very interested to see a jungle cert here. That would be a lot of pressure if you were going with this Thor in the jungle. Even in solo lane, that's a lot of pressure for the Thor. Doesn't really have a whole lot that you can do. You see the Athena being picked here, or being at least hovered here once again. Athena has not really been much of a factor at all across the game, so it might
Wait.
be a Horus Horus solo with the Jingwei Athena being picked and locked in here.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if I'm happy with the bottom two selected here. Soul, I guess Soul would be the mid laner here, but she's gonna be mid laning against a Baba Yaga who she really never kills. Even in a mid lane 3v3, you're gonna have a Geb, Baba Yaga, and I'm assuming a Willix. That's being hovered, so I'm assuming this order is not the jungle. I'm kind of sad about that. Um, but right, I mean, you have the Athena to, like, I guess, globally rotate and put that pressure in. You have a semi-global in terms of Horus, and semi-global in Thor. So you have a lot of, like, really cool ways to initiate a fight, which I think that this team comp was missing. But I think they already had that in the top three. And Jingwei is just like a plug-and-play super safe hunter, and Awilix kind of stops her from getting away without burning her ultimate too. So I don't know if Bradley's coming out of the draft with a draft that they are particularly happy with. Meanwhile, I think South Alabama has a draft that just says, like, hey, like, we have Chernobog in our draft, so we can split push for free all game. Our Baba Yaga typically should never die. We have Geb and Surtur, Surtur to initiate and pressure, Geb to just be a peel bot, and it looks to punish a lot of people. I mean, this is really looking like a draft differential in my opinion.
And we have a couple knock-ups on the side of South Alabama for Awilix to take advantage of here, and like you said, the Jingwei's dash is going to get caught here, so Jingwei is going to have to be careful about the situations that she expends that, or else she's going to be very easy pickings, and then there go her beads for the Awilix ultimate. So it'll be very interesting to see how these teams stack out again. It's been impossible to pick a winner from the draft screen these past couple of games because the games have just gone so wild. We'll have to see. But would you say that this game is going to be one more in the early game or the mid game?
Well, let's see. I mean, Bradley's comp is definitely like they want to try and get some early game pressure. But it's definitely going to be decided on who's like really in the driver's seat, who's really going to be winning this game in the mid game. I want to be seeing like how these teams are farming, how they're rotating, their macro play. Realistically, outside of both of these teams' pressure, because they both drafted a decent amount of pressure, I really think the macro play, who's going to be taking these objectives, who's getting more gold furies, who's getting more structures, that's what's going to determine who's really winning this game.
Absolutely. And we'll be getting the game started here underway very soon. It'll be interesting to see, again, if this Geb is as big a factor as it was in game one. We saw just exactly how South Alabama could utilize their opponent's gods against them following the game one there in game two. See if they do that again with the Geb in game three. Will be very interesting indeed. Not as many global ultimates out there. The Athena and the Chernobog, like you said, the semi-globals with the Thor, and we have the Cert as well. So kind of spread out, and the Horus as well. So Well, be interesting if the Horus is going to be in the solo lane, or who's going to be in the solo lane exactly. It might see a jungle Horus, I doubt it, but one
That would
could
be
dream.
something. You know, that would definitely be something interesting. I'm gonna be assuming it's gonna be a solo Horus versus solo Surtur. And in
Mhm.
that matchup, I don't know if Horus actually wins it. Surtur has a lot of lane pressure. He's a lane bully. Is how he's designed. And they also have a really good gank opportunity, being with the Willix and Surtur. That's just a very hard gank to live if you're a Horus. And also, I think in the mid and late game, it's really easy for Surtur to find value just by diving with his ultimate. Whereas it's very hard for a Horus to use his ult correctly to find a ton of value. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of like the mid game and like late game like value of these solo laners really, you know, make the difference. It'll be what makes and breaks both comps, I believe.
And so we did see South Alabama, instead of what we saw in game one, go more through the ADC lane. They focused a lot, and rightfully so. There was a Freya over there. Do you see them focusing more on the solo lane to kind of get Cert to be the fire giant that we want him to be, or would that be more you want to go back to what worked in game two, go back and just focus the dual lane? What do you see the South Alabama doing here?
Um, okay, well, if I'm South Alabama, I would I would probably just try and pressure the solo lane a ton. You have a Surtur that can definitely do it. You can invade blue buffs with a Surtur or Willix. But you also have this Chernabog who can just rotate out at any single point that he really wants to. You have an Athena to follow it. You have a Thor and a Horus that can, you know, kind of go up in the sky and also like help with that team fight also. But if you guys get like a really good like jump on somebody in lane, I think the play here would just be to like, you know, really just make sure your Chernabog is getting farmed up, make sure he's not getting camped, make sure he's getting his purples, getting his farm correctly, so he's able to rotate out and make this really big impact. So I think they're gonna be playing on the solo side, but they're not gonna like just sack the duo side.
That would make a lot of sense. And if you're Bradley in this situation, so you had a very solid game one, very hard fought game one that you walk away very proud with. Maybe a little bit less so, a little bit more of a chaotic game two. How do you refocus and what do you think that Bradley needs to do to get back on track in game three?
I'm Bradley. A lot of those fights in game two were very even. Those 4v4 fights in mid that literally lasted about 2 minutes were very even. The thing that kind of ended up shifting the balance of like who was winning the game was the ADC value. I think I would like to see, looking for my boyfriend, step up here in this game a little bit more on this aggressive soul pick. You know, Olderun's not a factor anymore, so there's no longer like, hey, I placed a good carpet and now I have value. Hopefully we can see the soul get a lot of value, but it's going to be hard to match the value of a Chernabog.
I would have to agree with that as well. Chernabog having that global presence. Soul does have the secure potential with her abilities and her ultimate, so that could go their way if Bradley's looking to be more active on the objective. But it's a very standard pull here, looking from both teams, or perhaps pulling three, and they might end up getting there in the same time by the looks.
Yeah, I actually think that the Bradleys is slightly ahead of their crew. They may be able to just get to wave quicker, which will help them. You do want to end up putting a lot of pressure onto this Chernabog. And yeah, they do drop the buff first, but you know, they're dragging it correctly, so they're going to arrive to lane at about the same time here.
Right. A little bit of pressure going towards Bradley's side here. Big damage on the Jeb already. Already half health, and a little bit of poking back and forth, a little bit of a dance, more of a traditional mid lane. We do have the Jing Wei in mid, and we do have the Soul in ADC, so that is an interesting change, and it is, as we suspected, the Horus solo. So we do get the boring matchup of the Horus versus the Surtur.
Yeah, we'd love to see it. And that just means we get to watch an action-packed 2v2 in mid and an action-packed 2v2 in duel in this game for the most part.
Absolutely.
Right now, it seems like this Geb is just doing what Geb needs to be doing. He's, you know, putting this pressure on, making sure the Chernabog can get his farm up. The Chernabog is getting a lot of poke on the soul, which is really good for him.
Damage in the soul. Looks like the left Harpies are going to go the way of Bradley. Start the game rights are going to go the way of South Alabama. So a little bit of pressure if they wanted it. Looks like they're opting to go back to mid lane and just kind of let that ride out here. Not a whole lot happening at the moment. abilities being thrown, a little bit of damage being done, but everyone's playing a lot more safer than they were in the first two games.
Exactly. This is the game that's gonna just hold the most weight. You know, you won one game each, but realistically speaking, you want to win the set. And we're gonna see an early shell come out actually in terms of duo lane.
Shell combating that taunt, so that's already one big active coming out from the Geb, so that could sway a team fight in about a minute or so if they end up pushing up here. But mid lane is looking like they're doing something.
Yeah, no, they're definitely doing something.
Felix did move a little bit further, but it looks like she just jumped across. It wasn't anything too crazy going on over there. Surt is going to be the first one to be taken down. Horus with a surprising solo on Surt there. Very interesting. First blood going the way of Bradley University. A little bit of extra gold in the pocket there as the Stellar Burst poking big damage on the Chernobog. Playing very, very safely.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're Bradley, that's exactly what you want to happen. You know, you want to be like just getting pressure somewhere on this map. You have pressure in dual lane just by having Soul. You know, and Soul's not going to really die right now with Athena just being, you know, right next to her. But you know, you want your horse to be ahead, and that's exactly what you're going to get here early.
As we see the Wheelix going down to give pressure, sniffing the blue buff, but nothing's there, so Wheelix will head back towards the mid Harpies. As Surt is applying pressure onto the Horus tower. Not really a whole lot going on over there, but maybe Surt's a little bit overly aggressive, leading to that early kill. As the teams just kind of go back to respect big damage on the Horus, as Surt is being that lane bully that you forecasted him to be.
Yeah, Horus has not had a chance to go back to like base and spend his gold, but he's about to just go back. He doesn't have TP here. If you guys look at all the relic options here, they all have these, minus like the Athena she has shell. So that's gonna be able to be very, very good in terms of Zordinal pressuring this Horus. You're gonna try and bully him back to Phoenix, bully him back to Fountain, and just try and get the advantage that way.
The only level 5 on the dual lane right now, it belongs to Soul. Looks like the Chernobog and Geb are trying to get a little bit of farm here in Soul's absence, but big threat there. Now that she has ultimate, a little bit less so. Now the rest of the dual lane is catching up here as well. So Athena, the only one without level 5 in that dual lane matchup, but it looks like she is going to take the slow walk back to lane. Jingwei is backing in mid, and Thor is just looking to throw some wards down and get some vision.
Yeah, no, I actually really like the placement of the Jingwei here. I was thinking it was going to be like a mid lane Soul in the picks and bans, not going to lie. But a mid lane Jingwei, sure, like whatever. She's pretty safe. It happens, right? So if they end up spending a lot of this time on this Jingwei, it gives your ADC a lot of room to just play with. You know, you can end up, you know, just pressuring this T1 tower, which would be one thing to do. But it seems like we have a little bit of a contest over the mid lane.
Yeah, they're going to be arguing over the mid Harpies here. Geb is going to be the one taking a lot of damage here. Shell and a Geb shield. There's a big ultimate coming out. And Jingwei is going to be the one to go down here. Or sorry, Jingwei is going to be the one to down Geb. My mistake. As the Thor ultimate came down, and he's going to die for his effort as well. A Wheelix taking out the Thor. Big damage coming out as Athena is running for her life right now. Chernobog ulted over to join this little party they were having in mid. Not looking like they're going to get anything out of it, but Baba Yaga chasing Athena through time and space right now. Even without that Giannis ban, we're still seeing it here. As the Athena is going to get caught by the Suku and feeding that kill to the mid laner, Baba Yaga. Athena goes down.
Athena had ult there. That entire time, by the way. I don't know why she didn't just say like, hey, like I'm just gonna ult to you, Horus. Can you just back up for me, bro? Thanks. Or like Horus getting your ult, and then so I'll ult to you, then you ult us away, and I'll be safe completely. That would have been nice.
Not quite sure what the call was there. Maybe Athena thought she was gonna die a little faster, so she could just ult from Fountain or something. I'm not quite sure what the call was there, but. Unfortunately, Athena not getting exactly what she wanted out of that. Definitely didn't survive that situation. So prop buff going the way of Soul here, and Soul already has a tier 1 tower to her.
Yeah, it's just soul tings, you know, soul get towers, soul do structure damage, soul go burr. And that's really like that's what you expect out of a soul. Like you draft the soul and you're like, okay, like she needs to get early pressure, that's what we need. If you're Bradley, you're gonna be playing on that side of the map heavily. You want to try and just take a lot of that global presence away from their team by just pressuring the Turnbuck who could globally rotate out. You've sat him in the lane with someone that will just box him and pressure him, you know, infinitely. You know, she's gonna keep getting these shield buffs. She's gonna just, you know, tear your tower 6 minutes and you know, it's already been done. So now it's just time for you to execute on this pressure that you have in that side of the map.
Absolutely, and we do see Athena has presence over here in the solo lane as a big rotation is happening. 3v2 coming from South Alabama, taunting the Geb into the tower. But the minions were there to take the tower shots. Double tap onto the Geb, not a whole lot of damage coming out, but looking like Awilix is just holding on to see who's going to be there. Baba Yaga rotates over just to kind of get a little bit of an eye on the situation, and everybody seems to be backing off. But meanwhile, Sol is just taking farm after farm and looking at a two-level lead right now in the duo lane. Chernobog, perhaps that early rotation hurt him a little bit. Ends up losing a couple waves, ends up losing a tower, losing a prop buff. Well, all of this stuff is starting to add up for him.
Not just one prop buff. This is the second prop buff in a row since the rotation. Chernobog is going to be down for basically the rest of the game. Like he's not going to be as lovely until Soul rotates out. But Horus is ulting in.
He is ulting, and I'm not entirely sure what he's up to. I guess just to get a little bit of an extra shield for this fight. He tries to feel like he's in danger. Cert, though, ulting away, opting to not fight into that low health Horus with the Thor right there to help him. Perhaps sensing a little bit more of a gank than actually was coming. Soul now is starting to get rotated on 3 people, getting in there. Chernobog did ult for that, but nothing to show of it. Separate, making sure that she wasn't slowed. But Sol is fighting for her life. Way too long to kill that Sol, but she does go down to the Awilix.
Yeah, yeah, that just feels bad. You know, you're an ADC, you're up 2 levels, you know, you've pressured the tower, there's really nothing else to get. And then they all just, you know, gank you. Because you gotta push up to clear your wave. And that just feels you know, the ult was available for the Athena to rotate over. I guess she decided, hey, like, you're dead anyway, I'm just not gonna try and save you. And to that I say, if you're not dying for your ADC, then what are you even doing playing support? As a support main, it is our job to die for our ADC sins. Sure, maybe Soul should not jump that far. But wait a minute, we have a Surtur
we see
running
the
under tower.
damage coming out here again, and Cert just getting this Horus down to 1 HP, but can't get a secure on him. We've seen that twice in a row now. But going back to your point, I agree. You know, if you're that situation, the Soul was burning so many resources. She had 3 people attacking her, got the Chernobog ultimate, and having that Athena ultimate onto her would have made her survive a little bit longer, possibly gotten her out alive, and possibly done even more. So, I'm curious decision to let her Soul die there, even after she was doing so much in that 1v3. But another prop buff going down as well, and there's not a whole lot going on. This Geb, though, in trouble. They're trying so hard. Bradley University not picking up with anything in the Meanwhile, their solo laner Horus is in trouble as Awilix rotates over to Cert, trying to get a little bit more damage, perhaps a secure. There's the Suku, couldn't get the knockup.
Horus is left area. He's looking for a break up here.
Thor is up in the air, I believe. And there he goes. There's the Athena rotation, but not in time. Defender of Olympus cannot save Horus as he goes down. But Thor might be able to pick up a kill here. Beams goes in, doesn't quite get enough damage, but dies to the Cert in retaliation.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh my goodness, more damage going on here. Athena is stuck in the mid lane after failing to get the Defender of Olympus, and Soul in reverse is the only one left looking alive here, as the South Alabama team is going to be looking for a Gold Fury.
Yeah, so like, remember when I said like, hey, you want to be playing with your ADCs, like pressure that, Bradley just did, and now this is yeah, all the pressure you've gained from like, oh no.
Oh no, King Crab going down to the Gold Fury.
King
Oh,
Crab's
that was
screaming worth every day.
atrocious.
But you know, again, like you have this Chernobog who late game is gonna outvalue the soul infinitely. He was down about 2 levels. He, was down in farm, and I think you should have tried to keep him that way. Instead, you see Bradley University throw a gank into the soul lane. It doesn't end up being fruitful at all. And then, as you're gonna see on these charts, the XP and the gold take a nosedive in favor of South Alabama.
South Alabama is just so efficient right now in picking targets, in getting these rotations, timely. Did lose the tier 1 early, but it really hasn't been a factor. The rest of the map, they've been able to match these team fights and win some of these team fights. Speaking of, it looks like they are grouping for Beacon here. Potentially, the Oracles are going the way of South Alabama, it looked like, as well as they're going to group up on this beacon. I do not believe that Bradley's in position to defend here, as South Alabama easily takes it. And it does look like the teams are just kind of retreating back to where they were a little bit before here. Horace is going to go clear Tiki buff as the teams are clearing their respective Tiki buffs. And just kind of playing a little bit of a footsie game in the mid lane right now.
Yeah, we're kind of in the weird lull of the game where like so much has happened, and both the teams are like, okay, guys, let's breathe. They want to get their buffs, they want to get their farm, and both teams are going to be, kind of measuring like where they are now in the game state. One totem's been taken already, well, like one beacon has been taken already, and now you're really look at like all of the gold leads and XP leads that have been built up so far. We have a mid lane about to break out.
Yeah, we see the Thor wall coming out here. Baba Yaga wisely able to get around there. Big fight, 3v2, but now they're matching 3v2. There's the Chernobog coming in, and Awelix feather stepping the Thor and getting another kill on the Athena. 2 huge kills as the Baba Yaga ultimate comes down. The big siege assault on the mid tower, and Awelix pressuring the Jing Wei, trying to get anything at all, getting some separation for the team. The team in South Alabama is looking at the Awelix very hungrily right now, but they're deciding to back off.
Yeah,
Just 2 kills.
Again, very, very beautiful counter engagement from South Alabama. We really, really like to see that here. This Awelix is getting rolling very, very early. She has her fully stacked trans, she has her Hydra limit. I'm assuming she's going for serrated third item, just so she can get 30% pen, just inner build, just, passively just having it. Didn't burn a relic there. Burned relics burned her ultimate on the Thor, and ends up getting a beautiful gank in the mid lane. Inserter,
Horus.
get the kill.
Horus living on one yet again and getting an assist from the Athena. Extra protection mitigation coming out there. Big fight in the mid lane here. Big Thor ultimate going down, missing the double tap on the Awelix. Awelix though going to walk right into a skull. Big damage, and this Geb is going to go down as well.
Oh no.
Geb. And the Baba Yaga picks up a kill on the Thor. I believe Thor was trying to dive the Baba under tower, ends up taking a tower shot for it in the Baba ability. There goes the Jing Wei ultimate. Big damage on the Baba Yaga, but it's looking like it's going to be a mid tower falling here. Lots of damage with a double ADC coming out, really hitting their stride here in the mid game now.
I really like what they're able to do there. Average Mahon, like, just getting a little too overzealous there with that tower dive, ends up dying to the tower shot, which is really unfortunate. Gives the kill credit over to Baba Yaga. But that just proves that you are still in this game. You are able to take these fights. And I think that fight is a much needed fight, just in terms of mental. You need to just mentally be able to just check yourself and be like, hey guys, like, I know they're kind of like dominating the early game. They have about a 3k gold lead here. The kills are 4-11, so it feels a little bit more hefty than what it actually is. But guys, we're still in this. But someone that is not in this is Horus.
Oh
Horus is
no, Horus goes down finally after living on 1 HP in 3 separate fights back-to-back. Finally, certainly able to secure a kill, and it's looking like South Alabama is going to take an Oni Fury off of it.
Yeah, they just do that objective, which is which is nice. There's nothing else up on the map except Fire Giant, a T1 tower and solo. So right now, if you're South Alabama, you're completely chilling. You're like, hey guys, like let's get our Geb to level like 15 so he gets the starter.
Well,
you're gonna burn the beads on the Thor.
And Thor's in a bit of trouble here. Doesn't see the Awelix, but Awelix doesn't see him, expecting him to keep walking. Misses him on the back, but Awelix is pinching in on this tower. Jing Wei's in a bit of trouble here. Looking like the Horus is there to save the day. Cert has to back off.
Yeah, the Chernobog's back in base, but he's
Oh, but
ulting into the
meanwhile,
fight.
oh no! There's the rotation. There's the ultimate from the Chernobog, putting the Horus down into the pit. The Surf in the back of the tower now, 1v2ing against Jingwei, going in, and the Athena able to stall a little bit of time, but Jingwei gets picked off by the Wheelix as Chernobog takes down the Athena.
We just dunked in, but the Bob is going to use her ult for safety. Again, a big strength of the character. Super, super safe. Really, really hard to dive. Willix uses her ultimate and cleans up the Thor too.
Big damage, and that is 4 down, and Soul is trying to take a tier 2 off of this, trying to salvage something from the situation, but meanwhile, South Albion has her sights set on the Fire Giant, realizing that Soul's face is on her tier 2. So far away, she cannot contest this.
Abiyaga just says, hey, like, I burned everything I had, let me go home. And I guess they weren't confident in their ability to burn the objective there. I would have thought they would have ripped that Fire Giant away from, you know, Bradley University. But I guess they decided to just go back home, play it safe, and get some wards, get some pots, and just upgrade their items and play it safe.
And the beacon is going the way of Bradley University right now. So very interesting turn of events. Stopping, going right back home to the fountain instead of taking the Fire Giant off of that really huge team fight. Losing a tier 2 tower as well. So perhaps those exchanges were not nearly as bad for Bradley as it turned out to be.
It wasn't great, but it's not super catastrophic. But one thing I do want to highlight is that South Alabama's comp only gets better. It only gets stronger. Baba Yaga just finished her prophetic, and we're going to see the engagement here in the mid lane actually first.
Yeah, big 2-man taunt there on the Oracles, but nothing really to follow up there. Team's not really in position to capitalize on it. Looks like they're just going to be securing buffs, but Jingwei is in a bit of trouble on the right lane right now, having to retreat to her Thor, as the Baba Yaga is chasing her down with that cert.
A solid Thor Wolf's going to get her out of trouble, which is really, really good, but we do see South Alabama posturing around this mid lane fight, and you're going to see the Chernobog ult.
Once again, yeah. Once again, big fights breaking out around the Pyromancer now as the next target on the map that is looking that is looking juicy like a piece of meat right now. Teams are dancing around it.
Again, both of these teams have a really, really good fight here, but Geb's going to get gone on right here. And we have a pause coming out, it seems.
Oh, it looks like we have a pause.
Nice. Well, I guess, I mean, we can talk about both comps here.
Yeah.
Again, Willick's having a great game here, 8-1. She's very, very much ahead of this Thor in terms of pressure and farm. And right now, so far, value as well. And again, as I was saying earlier, South Alabama's comp only gets...
It looks like they're back into the action. All right, and so big Thor ultimate on the back line. Caught South Alabama off guard. That was the engage. That was the go button. Athena goes in and gets the death kill. Baba Yaga very low health. And she's going to go down to Horus. There's the ultimate from Sol. Lots of damage out here. But they're chasing the Cert on the back line. Cert left all alone trying to distract, but they've Bradley University finally recognizing this and going for the Pyromancer instead. Said, this is ours, let's take it. Let's not waste any more time. And there they go. Pyromancer going the way of Bradley University, and they're looking at big fire.
Yeah, they said, let's just leave the character of the Fire Giant alone and take the actual value of the map. He already ulted away, so he really has no stimulus here. Chernobog has ulted in a couple seconds, but it won't be back up soon enough to contest this Fire Giant.
Looks like he's getting burned too quickly. There is a blink going out, or a teleport. That was a teleport from the Cert. Not in time to do anything about the Fire Giant. Fire Giant going the way of Bradley University, but Helix is going to take down Sol, one of the biggest assets to have Fire Giant. And Horus is going to get caught out alone here, walking away from the beads. There's the beads. He does end up getting the dash out in time. There is another Cert ultimate, but it looks like they might all be getting out safe, but I don't know if that's the same thing that you said about the Tier 2 tower, as they're currently fighting under it. Geb taking a couple tower shots, trying to get his team to engage. Everyone seems to be backing off.
I mean, you do end up finding a kill in the Soul, which is like one of the best targets to peel a Fire Giant off of, but you end up burning a lot of resources to do so. You know, you burn a lot of relics, you burn a lot of ultimates, air quotes, a lot of ultimates, you know, the Chernobog ult and your Surtur ult in terms of chasing here. But is that really going to be enough to dissuade you from, like, looking at this Gold Fury here in a minute? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think that it looks like that's exactly where Bradley University is going to be running right to, with that Fire Giant still active for some time here. It looks like South Alabama might be looking to meet them. at theirs at that objective as well. But a little bit of a spread out here from Bradley University. Soul is one of the ADCs in the map. Does have Fire Giant still here, so a lot of big damage coming out from there. Still lots of ability there, but looks like Geb is zoning out, and South Alabama is looking to pick up the Gold Fury. And the frontliners are pushing out Bradley University. Interesting to see Bradley University has the Fire Giant, being very conservative with it, trying to gauge exactly what's going to be going on here. A little
This
bit of a
game is
dance
dead
happening.
even now, which is actually a very, very good point to highlight here. Even though they do have Fire Giant, you don't have it on your ADC, which hurts you a little bit, but you still have it on your Jingwei. Whoever wins this fight will be firmly in control of who's in the driver's seat of this game.
We do see a little bit of a footsie matchup here. We see the Thor wall going out, trying to get somebody out of position. Everyone just kind of hovering around, feel for it. There's the Thor ultimately engages. Go, Horus is up, is engaging, and down comes the Anvil of Dawn onto an Aegis, but Chernobog is going to die anyways as the Aegis runs out too soon. And Horus is going to pick up a kill on the Cert. Big damage coming out here from Bradley University as they are collapsing now. They are starting to call out targets here as we see the Gold Fury being burned by the double ADCs, and Thor picking up a kill on the Baba Yaga. Huge team fight here. And then two more people looking to go down here. Awilix getting taken out by the Horus. Geb, the only man standing, the only god standing. And this tower will not be for very long as Thor backs off to go take Beacon, and it looks like they're going to be pressing a Phoenix.
If I'm Bradley, I'm very, very happy with how this fight went. They're going to be surging forward for this Phoenix. The only people that can really contest him is a Geb, who you can still probably kill. He might end up in the grayscale. There he goes. Yep, he's back home. You guys still have enough DPS to end up shredding this, and you might be able to look for a left Phoenix here as well.
Yes, it looks like Soul is going to try to DPS this left Phoenix here. It looks like they're going to get both birds off of that Gold Fury fight. What an incredible turn of events. There is the Horus ultimate coming in defense. We have the Athena ulting over. Lots of damage coming down. We have the Cert ultimate. We have the Baba ultimate. The Soul ultimate. All of them flying left and right. Bodies are flying. 2 down on South Alabama. Cert went down. We have another one. We have Chernobog going down as well. Big damage. Only Jingwei going down on the way of Bradley, and average aim. We have the Thor taking out another. This looks like this could be game here, but the Titans are marching. Just that one play where Thor went to go take the beacon is preventing them from ending this game right now, unfortunately.
Yep. That's unfortunate. I mean, sometimes the beacon giveth and the beacon taketh away. New mechanic diff, actually. There, Bradley has a very, very strong fight. So I don't hate the call for South Alabama to say, hey, our Titan's about to spawn. Let's try and chase out here. We're kind of down. We're getting desperate. Let's try and make something happen here. And they do get severely punished, but they already lost both those birds anyway, right? So the only play that could happen there is hey guys, we all get decided, and then what happens? You guys go kill our Titan right when we respawn, we can defend our right Phoenix again anyway. So I don't hate them stepping up there, but that fight going that well for Bradley University, I'm scratching my head if I'm South Alabama. I'm going to be hey guys, what went wrong there? And I think a big part of that was their target prioritization. Soul was able to free cast for the majority of that fight. Her damage shot up completely nearly to the top of the charts there. She now has cleared everybody on her team in terms of damage, and she's only going to get stronger as this game goes on. She still has a Pyromancer Bomb on her, so they can still try and force a fight in right lane.
And it is interesting, we do see the Chaos Titan back in base, so they do have to defend it now. They cannot extend out here. Lots of waves on that Titan as Bradley University is going for the Fire Giant, and we see Bradley taking the Fire Giant. South Alabama tried to steal, but we have Thor in the air. Lots of damage being rained down all over the map. Saul taking out Geb, Baba Yaga ulting. We have lots of damage being thrown around. There goes the Chernobog. This could be it, folks. We do get the Suku, but there was an Aegis. No factor on Thor. Thor's not in danger. Down goes the right tower. Down goes the Awilix here to the Athena. And this is looking like it is curtains for South Alabama after a very hard-fought set.
Unless Baba Yaga has an execute bug, it's going to be looking like that's going to be the end of the set. They played the game very, very cleanly. They end up tying the kills there in the very end. but again, like right now, their comp just really came into its own. You're gonna see them fighting here in the Titan room. Can they have the damage?
Not quite enough damage to take out the two that are alive, but the Titans are clashing. Big damage. It's hard to tell who is winning that fight there, but the Chaos Titan ultimately does go down as Bradley University takes the set 2-1. What a match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly how to say this nicely, but Chernobog did. I'm kidding. You know, I think both comps actually ended up playing very, very well. I did like South Alabama's comp a lot more there, but it did seem like towards the like mid late game portion of that game, the Soul ended up just free casting, and she was not getting shut down early mid game, yeah, but like the later part of the mid game into the late game there, Soul was just able to just do whatever she wanted to do. And that was definitely a big problem for South Alabama, and Bradley capitalized on that opening, that looking for a boyfriend created with the amount of damage and the amount of threat he was creating on this Soul pick.
Yes, unfortunately, it did turn out that so many kills that were dropped in the right lane on Alabama did come back to haunt them. Not enough pressure on the map. Saul was able to do what she wanted. Look at that structure damage. 10,000 structure damage by
Yeah.
herself, almost 11,000. So she nearly cleared every objective on the map by herself, just allowed to do whatever she wanted to do freely. I think that really was the nail in the coffin for this Southern Alabama team, and possibly something for them to look forward at correcting in the future.
Yeah, no, definitely. I like the looks of both these teams. I think if you're walking out of this and you're South Alabama, I'd be very, very happy with what you've performed in game one and game two. Maybe not as much in game three. Maybe look back to the drawing board on your game three performance. But I think both teams at like still have like kind of solidified that they're able to hang. They're pretty good. They're pretty comfortable. And just depending on like how the meta falls and how they're doing. Uh, I think it really just depends on the day of who's going to show up and who's going to be better. If I'm either of these teams, I'm pretty happy. I'm happy if I'm Bradley because I got the win, but I'm also pretty satisfied with South Alabama. You didn't look too bad. You didn't look too shabby.
Both teams very impressive, up on paper and on the field. They did wonderful work, and that has been an incredible set to watch. So I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank Hydra for casting with me, and Atuxiu. I want to thank you for being the camera, the man behind the camera today. So wonderful set. Do you have anything else that you want to say about this Hydra?
I was seeing in chat, Zordon was a fan favorite. It did seem like, a pretty big upset. But again, very, very enjoyable games. And you guys can definitely catch me here in the future. It'll be fun.
Absolutely. It was wonderful casting this with you today. Had a wonderful time. Thank you, everybody out there, on behalf of Amaterasu's presence. Thank you so much, and have yourselves a great night.